I'm grateful that I'm not where I used to eat 1 meal a day because I couldn't afford food. I'm grateful that I'm no longer sleeping on the streets, in the church, in coffee shop. I want to get very comfortable as I discuss this with you guys. A lot of you have been following me for about 4 years now, and I don't think I've ever come here to actually share my experience. Share culture shock, first time experiences with certain things, but I don't think I've ever come to sit down and share life experience, and that is one thing that I'm going to be doing in this video. So if you're new here, hello, you're welcome to my space. I am Jane and I am a lifestyle content creator based in Manila, Philippines. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not, and turn on your post notification bell. That way you get notified every time that I do post a new video and you don't get to miss out on any of my uploads. Today I'm going to be sharing something really personal. I'll try as much as possible not to be emotional in this video. I've told myself for a couple of months that whenever I'm going to drop this video on my channel, it means that it's the last phase. The Philippines is a very beautiful country. It's a country that has taught me so many things, the good, the bad. It's a country that has grounded me, made me see life differently. It's a country that made me grow up before I needed to grow up. It's peaceful, loving, and has so many amazing people. My best pals, I met them here. My longest friends, I met them here. I've built family here. I've had the ups and downs here. This country is blessed and it's a beautiful place to live if you ever want to live in the Philippines. I'll be sharing my story, my personal experience with you guys. I moved here at the age of 17. For some of you that do not know, I have a video where I talked about why I moved to the Philippines, so I would not be discussing that in this video. I would have that video linked in the description box for you to go check it out. It was not the first time for me to leave my parents. I had been living out of my parents' house for about 2 years prior to me moving here. So I already gained experience being away from my family. In the first year of me moving here, things were beautiful, things were still going well with me, with my family. In the second year of me being here, things went really bad for my family. My mom's business was affected. Our family business basically was affected, and that was obviously where the source of income was coming from, and this had nothing to do with the economy or the recession that was going on in Nigeria at the time. It was some things that happened, and a lot of things just happened in our personal life that I would not be sharing because I feel like it is not my story to tell. The same year that happened, I needed to renew my tuition. I also had health challenges. I needed immediate surgery. So many things were happening at the time, so it was a lot for I and my family. I didn't have access to money. I'm so grateful to some of the people that helped me during that time. I have about 2 family members then that were trying to support me at the time, but it was just not enough because they also have their own challenges. At some point I couldn't afford rent. I used to stay in a shared apartment then, and things became really tough. I couldn't afford the place anymore, so I had to go live in a dormitory. When I moved here, I was also living in a very comfortable space. To move into a dormitory, that was literally like the saddest thing. Like every day when I wake up to want to take my bath and go to school, I will feel a certain type of way. I shared bathrooms with almost 10 people, 10 different people that I didn't know, sharing toilet, sharing kitchen. The place was messy, cockroaches, rats. I was dealing with a lot, but I lived there for a couple of months. I got into a relationship, and when I did, my boyfriend at the time was not comfortable with the place that I was living with. God bless him. Like, oh my God, that boy was the most supportive human being that I had met at the time. I was still very young, guys. I was still a teenager. Just imagine, I was still a teenager going through all of that. So he asked me to share an apartment with him. So we started living together, but we had to do what we had to do, you know. I was going to school from there and we're just managing. Then I fell ill. I had a medical condition that required me spending money. Everything that comes into me, literally my health was draining my finances. I was really going through it. I needed to feed, I needed to survive. I was managing the situation until I found out that I needed to have immediate surgery. I had no money. My life was at risk. So many things was happening. I was depressed. I was going through so much. My mom was my full sponsor. My mom has supported me the best way that she could, and I love every support that I got from her because it wasn't easy. So many things happened during my childhood, and she's such a strong woman, and I feel like that is where I got the strength to keep going every single day. Moving to a country where there is no job for international students, it was really tough. So at the time that I needed that surgery, I didn't have money, but I went in for the surgery regardless, hoping that some miracle somewhere was going to happen. When I had the surgery, I couldn't afford to pay the bills. I stayed extra days in the hospital. Gracefully, I had a very good friend who is now a doctor. I had really good support system. My friends were there for me, but obviously they couldn't be there for me financially, but they were there for me emotionally. They were there to hold my hands through everything. My boyfriend as well at the time. My boyfriend supported me with his tuition. A friend of mine also supported me as well. You know yourself, thank you very much. And I had to pay back in due time. During that period, I also realized that I had a medical condition that I needed to manage. So guys, I'm always on drugs. Not drugs, I mean, but I'm always taking medications. Sometimes I wouldn't even have money to pay for rent, to survive. I don't know what I'll eat the next day. At some point, I became homeless. Yes, I took my stuff and I kept them in my friend's house, Mimi. Some of my things were in her house, and I used to sleep in a chapel and also a coffee shop. So in the night, I'll go to the coffee shop. While I'm studying, I would sleep off. It was like that for a while. My friend didn't know this until like much later. I didn't want to bother her because she had a very small space. I didn't want to bother my friends because we're all managing as students. Eventually, I found a house, a shared apartment again, and I started staying in a very small room. I lived in that small room for about 3 years. It hasn't been easy. I have attempted suicide. Yeah, one time I was surprised the next day when I woke up. I'm like, why did I wake up? I didn't have any support whatsoever. I have an amazing sister who lives in the UK, and you guys know UK is not so easy. She was a student at the time, so she couldn't even do so much for me. If she sent me money, it's little to nothing here, but I always appreciated the effort that she was putting in for me. I was basically living and surviving. I'm sure that a lot of people watch this video and be like, you didn't look like you were going through it, but I was going through it. There were days when I didn't have food to eat. I didn't know what I was going to eat the next day. I would buy the 1.5 liter of Coke and I'll buy pan de Manila bread and I will eat that for maybe 3 days. I'll buy noodles, egg, and I'll survive. Sometimes somehow my friends tell me, oh, let's go out or something, and we would go out and I guess eat good meal. You guys be like, but you always had a business. Yes, I had a business, but it wasn't easy with my business because of the location. I was in Cebu and you make little to nothing. Okay, if I make money, it goes into bills. There's nothing left. There's nothing to save. It wasn't helping. I felt like every day, sometimes when I quit the business, people be like, why did you stop? I felt like every day I was suffering, waking up early in the morning, going to the market, cook, and at the end of the day, the money that comes in can't even do anything for me. I'm not the type of person to throw pity party. I wasn't raised like that, you know. So every time like I think about it, I'm like, should I just come online and talk, and maybe I might get help from people outside? But at the same time, I'm not the type of person to do that. Several times I thought about it. Several times I've asked my sister to open a GoFundMe for me. We end up not doing it because it's not how we were raised in the family where I come from. I'm not saying that it's pride or anything. I mean, if you have the courage to do so, you can do so. I've always been that girl that will mask my feelings and make everyone around me happy. I mean, I will walk into a room and everywhere is lively. I'm the life of the party. I would never ever, like, I can go to a party today, I'm so happy, so excited, and I go back home and I start shedding tears because what next? What is tomorrow? What is there for me tomorrow? How about the Nigerian community in the Philippines? I would say in Cebu, they have such a great support system. Like several times I think I needed a community, they were there for me. I hate to ask for help. Sometimes when I ask for help, I don't get it. So I'm like, why am I telling you my problem when you're not going to help me? And some people, even if you tell them your problem, they want to use you because you're vulnerable. They want to take something from you in exchange for the help. So if I ask you for a little favor and I know that you can afford to give me that favor, the next thing you're going to say, okay, let's meet up in a hotel. Another thing is the way people treat people here. If you don't have anything, if you're struggling financially, they kind of treat you a certain way. I remember when I really needed help sometime in 2018. Someone brought me to Manila and he was like, you know what, I'm going to help you, just come to Manila. He booked my ticket and everything, only for me to get to Manila and he tried to pass me around to his friends. That is pure wickedness. I experienced that once and I was like, nah, I would not be able to tell people my problem, like anything I'm going through. It even made me want to mask my feelings more. Like, I can't do it. About 2 years ago, I encountered a relative of mine. I have spoken about him in one of my videos before, and I encountered him and I remember him saying a lot of mean and awful things to my people back home, you know, telling them I was into prostitution, went as far as telling them that I had a child. Yeah, that I had a child. I had a 3-year-old child in Philippines. Funny, very, very funny. And I was wondering, when did I get pregnant? When did I carry the child full term, give birth to the child, and the child is 3 years old? You know, that's to tell you how wicked people can be. Said all these things about me to my family, and I feel like that point everything just dried up. Like everybody just deserted me, left me to figure it out, and I'm the type of person not to even bother people. So I'm like, okay, it's all right, no problem. I'm going to be grateful for people that actually call family. I remember messaging a sister of mine and I told her, oh, I needed help. I mean, she's doing well. And then she told me, I'm not trying to be entitled or anything, but I felt like what I was requesting for was nothing to her. She sent me a screenshot of her account balance that she only had 20,000 naira in her account. For a business tycoon, that was weird. And I said, okay, no problem. I caught it there, like I just didn't ask. And I know that several times after that, I called her regarding other things that weren't even money. And she didn't pick up my call because maybe she thought I was trying to ask her for money. This is just to tell you that not everybody that is family is blood. Don't feel like because people are refusing to help you, there will be no way. The grace upon you is mighty. If someone told me that today I would, you know, be this person that I am, because it has grounded me. It has made me the person that I am. This whole experience, everything, I'm more mature. Sometimes when I speak, some people are like, are you sure you're your age? But it's experience, is life, you know. This video is going to be very long, but bear with me. Life has been very, very unfair to me. I have so many things I want to say, but these are the few that I can drop. These are the few highlights that I can drop. You know, some people will say, oh, but you're enjoying on Instagram, you're living the life on Instagram. And I never for one day have come out here and say I can afford the life that I want, that I live in. I always say it here that I do have support. Started getting better mid last year. It was never like this. Like where I was last year and where I am now, I'm even in shock at the growth. Like when I sit down and think about it, I'm like, was I that person? But there are several times I felt like God wasn't answering my prayers. I felt like that, and that was the reason why I attempted suicide. I felt like he wasn't listening. I fasted, I prayed naked, I prayed on the ground. What is it that I didn't do? I tried to avoid sin. And then I realized that when you're too hard on yourself and you don't give room for God to do his work, for him to use the people that he wants to use to bless you, to give you opportunities, you wouldn't get it. You need to just relax, take a chill pill and act like nothing is happening. There are times where things are weighing me down, like I have so much burden that I'm carrying, and all I just say is, God, let your will be done, and I go to sleep, not trying to solve the problem, not trying to make things work, and it just happens. A miracle from nowhere just happens last minute. Believe in your God, trust your God. I have Jesus, and that is the reason why I have been through all this and I still survived all this. I believe in God, I believe in his works, I believe in his words, I believe in his miracles. That's the reason why when I'm going through things, I pray and I remind God of the things that he has said in his word, and I'm like, a child of God should not be going through this. I am your child, and you have promised me blessings, you have promised me abundance, you have promised me peace. God is amazing. If you've ever thought that God has disappointed you, God has left you, he has not. Greater things are ahead. Your path is completely different. Never for one day have I felt jealous of my friends. Never for one day have I felt like, oh my God, they have this, they have achieved this, I haven't. I have never for one day felt like that, because I know that my own time will come. I know that one day I would bask in glory and happiness, and everything will be fine, and all this will be history. I was so broke, I didn't know what to do, that I thought YouTube was the breakthrough for me. I started a YouTube channel, and you know what? I still didn't make it. A year went by, 2 years went by, 3 years went by, and on the 4th year, God remembered me and said, okay, let me monetize this girl. But I was consistent in all of everything that I had gone through. I know people that after 2 years, if they didn't get monetized, they would give up. After a year, they would give up. But I put out content every week, because I thought that, okay, YouTube would help me become financially stable and all my problems will be over. But it didn't work out. Till now, I haven't cashed out a penny on YouTube. I have not cashed out anything on this platform, but I'm still consistent. If things are hard for you in your country, it's a different thing. Imagine things being difficult for you in a foreign land. I know that it's not easy in the foreign land, in abroad, for a black person, but keep pushing and never you give up, because it takes a snap for things to get better. I'm not there yet. I haven't arrived yet. But I'm grateful that I'm not where I used to be. I'm grateful that I'm not where I used to eat 1 meal a day because I couldn't afford food. I'm grateful that I'm no longer sleeping on the streets, in the church, in coffee shop. I'm not rich. I'm not comfortable yet, but I'm not there anymore. Enough. That's enough. That's enough of my experience, okay? That's enough. Yeah, that is what I'm comfortable to share for now. So, we're not trying to cry here. Girl, no, don't do that. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Share if you want to share this video. I need to go, okay? Bye, guys.